and welcome. I'm your host Riya, and you're watching One India. It is Diwali, the festival of lights, and the excitement in the air is palpable. However, this time of the year also brings significant concern regarding the air quality, especially in Delhi NCR. The combination of firecrackers, increased vehicular emissions, and the stubble burning creates a perfect storm during this time, severely affecting the residents' health and the environment. So, in order to address the current issue today, we are joined by Bhavreen Kandhari, a passionate environmentalist and advocate for sustainable living. Thank you so very much for joining us today, Bhavreen. It's glad to have you on One India.
Thank you so much, Riya. Really appreciate for having me on the show.
Bhavreen, it's Diwali. People are celebrating, enjoying. But under this festivity lies a very great danger, which is the air pollution crisis, especially in our city, Delhi NCR region. So, can you share your thoughts on the use, how these fireworks, what are the specific pollutants gets releases into the air during this festival, and how deadly or hazardous it can be of them existing in our air, you know?
One thing that I want to start with, of course, we all know that, but we tend to believe that air pollution is now. It's not now. We have been experiencing or suffering this air pollution throughout the year. Even during the monsoons, we never had even a one single good air day. So as per data, you've been breathing poor and very poor air the rest of the year as well. Only at this time that it gets cold and winds and become stationary, and because of the cold weather, the dust tends to settle down and all the pollution settles down, and we start seeing it visibly. So we tend to believe it, but we have to tell ourselves that we've been breathing anything above. We were traveling for the climate week, etc. There was, wherever we were going, were like 2 and 3 AQI. I mean, that is the kind of air you want to breathe. So anything that is more than that is air pollution, and that's anyway hazardous, like you said. So primarily, it's PM 2.5, which is absolutely the trouble right now. What we should be talking about, and that is very very small. It's almost like 1/100th of hair, and when we inhale that, it just goes into our bloodstream and it affects every part of the body. So again, another wrong notion that air pollution affects only your lungs and your breathing. No, it's now with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of studies that have been shown that it affects everything, whether it's from lungs and COPD to heart to strokes to amnesia to dementia to growth, stunting growth, etc. Everything,
Right, right.
and this is what it is. Yeah.
So, you know, Diwali has a very economic and a cultural significance also, right? And many people, like you and us, and there are other people also, find it very challenging to reduce celebration. Like, to what extent they can reduce the celebration, or how many people can. So, what practical or eco-friendly alternatives, like, can one individual or the family can consider to minimize their environmental impact while still enjoying the festival? If you can suggest some.
See, everything, I don't know, this enjoy is a very relative term, because if you tell me that my children are going to have certain amount of poison, or my family tells me if I go out and I say, come back, and they ask them, did you feed my children? And they say, "Aaj humne thoda kam zehar diya." How are you going to react? This is exactly what you're willing to, offer some poison, lesser effective or less amount or a different brand of poison. Does it matter? So we are at the stage of it's actually a public health crisis. We are breathing this toxicity. Our children are experiencing. Every third child in Delhi has damaged lungs. This is a study by Lung Care Foundation. It is a clear. It says. I mean, these figures are unbelievable. So every third child is going to face something terrible in their lives, which could be COPD, which could be lung cancer, could be anything. I mean, as a parent, are you willing to take that? So fine, if you are willing to take it, do it. But then, sorry, please go into a chamber and do it with your family. Don't expose the others. And that goes. It's not only for crackers. It's valid for every other thing, every other violation. So I hate to say this, but right now the biggest violators is the authorities, is the government, and we have to, as parents, when we say that demand clean air, you have to point out these violations on a daily lives. And whether you are seeing some waste being burnt, or you are the vehicular emissions, or it's thermal power plant emissions, everything. So everything matters. So that's why I'm just saying that it's not about crackers only. It's
Right.
about every source of emission that is important. So then coming to eco-friendly, every festival is beautiful because you are with your family, and I think that makes most of it that you're together. Then there are many ways. I mean, the olden times, there's nothing cultural about crackers. I'd like to correct that, and it's only about fun, and we've all done that. So I understand that if you feel that okay, you didn't have, but there are many other ways. I think the government is planning a laser show and those kind of things. So you could go out and see colors and lights if that fascinates anyone. But otherwise, we've grown up doing the simpler way of rangolis and decorations with flowers and paintings, and making mithai at home. We've all forgotten to do that actually. Cooking at home has become such a thing which is always very, very special. And it's very, like you said, eco-friendly, because otherwise when we buy, we are one, of course, the quality, and the other is the packaging, etc., that comes with it. And so
Mhm.
it's wonderful that children learn this, something that our grandparents have done with us. We even remember till now, as we're aging, we
Right.
always, it just stays with you. So
Right.
those are the type of things that everybody can, kind of bring it. But I think there's nothing that should compromise our children's health. So it could
Right.
be anything. And it's not about crackers on Diwali. Again, Diwali should not be. It's about crackers. Period. Whether a politician is, celebrating something, or a cricket match, or a festival, any festival. It could be, New Year's. It could be anything.
Right.
So period. I mean, we don't need that. Yeah.
Right. You mentioned a very importantly, you have highlighted a very important point uh, when you were talking about this thing that children in Delhi, 3 children in 10,
Every third child. Yeah.
yeah, they will be facing in their coming days with a lung disease. It can be anything. Uh, a lot of people do not have the first-hand information only. They do not have the data. And B, then there is a whole large section of society who's not even aware about the upcoming thing, because it's not something will happen in one day. It's a more like a slow poison, which is there around us. We are not able to see it, but it is affecting us in some or the other way. So, having said that, what all are the need of the hour which has to be taken today, so that in the coming days we can protect our the coming generation, because it's the infants, it's the pregnant ladies who are most vulnerable to such atmosphere which is right now we are in. So what do you have to say in this?
Yes, Riya, so rightly said. You're absolutely correct that it is one very important to know what is there. Of course, that's awareness and advocacy. And we are not something like someone like me who's working for many decades now on clean air. It's another thing. But now everything in those years, fine. There was not much said and written, and it was about advocacy. But everything is there. It's on the Google. It's being said. The pollution board will give you advisory. The health ministry will give you advisory. All those things will happen. But eventually, it is for the citizens to demand for clean air. Until we will not ask for it, we will not demand, we will not going to get it, because unless we don't demand, it's not going to be an electoral issue. And until it's not an electoral issue, this is not going to get solved. So if you want a good future, a healthy future for your children, you have to understand that this is a very, very, it's a public health crisis, and we need to, it's like COVID, when we all got together, and the government and people and citizens, everything worked together, and we got out of that situation. Similarly, for even for air pollution, we will have to demand it. Otherwise, the politicians are not going to prioritize it. And that is the reason, with all these various movements and citizen movements, like even like we're all members of Warrior Moms and My Right to Breathe. They have been only instrumental in bringing in, the voices together, which is about advocacy, which is about, demanding implementation of laws, and also empowering citizens and parents on the laws that, okay, if waste is being burnt in my neighborhood, what am I supposed to do? Like, you could be, judges and, journalists and, well-read doctors, etc. But you don't know, on the ground what you need to do. Or a tree is being cut, do you know that every hour 5 trees are being felled with permissions? So, unless you will not know this, you must raise your voice for every violation. Just think that this is going to cost my child,
Right.
his or her health. So this is how, the change will happen. And whatever you seek to, you don't miss a movie on Netflix. You don't, miss any other thing. And then it's not about it. See, the elite is a very few, very small
Section.
number of
Yeah.
elite people. Well, the masses are, now today you think that, okay, even if our Chief Justice of India cannot go for a walk, he said that he's not going for a walk, he's stopped because of air pollution. But the masses, they are the ones,
We're
waste
walking.
workers are segregating waste, the sanitation workers are doing jharu. In fact, they are probably doing more to keep everything clean. People, the masses will be doing the jobs, because otherwise they will not be able to eat, the daily wage workers in the night. So it's a huge, there's an equity issue with this air pollution, and we must not forget that. And that's why air purifiers and these kind of solutions are also, not valid, and we don't kind of encourage that, because it's like the water, that you didn't clean the water and everybody had to put an RO in their houses. But then how many houses are those? It's a very small number. The masses are now getting affected with all this typhoid, etc., increasing, because, the water is obviously
Not clean, or the
polluted.
air is not clean. Absolutely. You've said it very rightly. Now, again, coming back to that, you said it's a problem of, it's a public health situation now, and the masses have to speak up. But having said that, the masses, are they speaking? And even if they are, at what level they are doing? Because of course, whatever the changes are being done is done on the paper or for the sake. For example, we have smog towers, but are they working? Are they not working? Nobody's keeping a check on it. So how to tackle these problems? Because as a layman, if I say, that person will say, it's not my responsibility, it's not my job to do this, right? So how do we approach this? How do we take this to the people in authorities who are sitting? How do we ask them, or how do we appeal them that, it now you need to act, otherwise everybody is going to suffocate, probably some will die in the coming winters. The more the density increases, it's going to be very problematic. And then there is a whole group of people who are already very much at risk, are vulnerable, have lung diseases or respiratory diseases. So how do you guys, like, how do you suggest this to be raised, or this to be told to the authorities, so that they do take some action on the ground level?
So, Riya, what you've said is there, but I must correct you that it's absolutely these visuals. Actually, I'll start with I'll actually go the other way. That one, that is denial. This is for the governments, I'm saying. And then the second is these farces that are brought in, which is the smog towers, which is visual beliefs that this is going to clean the air, and that doesn't happen. Okay, so smog tower is the biggest farce that ever happened, and it's been proven very much. But it takes years for people on the ground, people like us, policymakers, etc., to convince these people that it's not going to work. This is just a visual, because it's appealing, and that is why people, citizens, like you said, who are like lay persons, they believe what is being said. And obviously, when the government says something, they have a following. They tend to believe that, and more. And people, the scientists, scientific, community, or the people who are trying to put this together, like us, and we hardly have a following. So we keep saying the same things again and again, but it doesn't reach them. So this is the one of the biggest disasters. So whether it is now rain, the cloud seeding, or it's a smog gun. Now smog guns are useful. They could be useful because they have to be used at the right time at the right place. So smog guns should have been used all year round at the construction sites to keep, and that's what happens in most of the developed nations, that they use this just to keep the PM10. So dust is all PM10. It's not PM 2.5, and to keep it down. Now, if you're not doing that throughout the year, and now suddenly for visibility, because now you want to show this to the media and like put it in the papers and all these pictures, etc. So you tend to talk about it. But now sprinkling water and all will be very temporary relief. It's not going to be. These are all ad hoc, measures that are taken, and they mean nothing. What really needs to be done throughout the year and is to work on the sources of emissions, which is the governments need to do that, which is their mandate. They are responsible for it, and something that cannot come along with denial. First of all, they have to accept it. So here are citizens who are actually going on the ground and pointing out these violations, and nothing happens because one, of course, intent. There's no political intent to solve that, and second is that I'll give you an example that most of the pollution boards in Delhi NCR, which is Delhi, Haryana, UP, they all have vacant posts. So where are those officers? Who is going to go on the ground and actually check this and take action against this? So when you have less people, this is what happens. The violations go unreported and nothing happens. So this is not now. It's been for years. These issues have been raised. That then the monitoring. The monitoring is still in a process of a check, like kind of a still it's not it's we still don't have it, and there's most likely all the data is being fudged, etc. So again, we are again in in lying stage and denial stage. So first of all, it has to be done with truth and a political intent, and that is what is going to be the game changer. And like I said, whether it is air or it's water, or whether it's Yamuna, now using the froth, etc. You cannot go and sprinkle water and chemicals on it to go, because you have to work on the sources of pollution. Again, citizens have gone to every STP plant. They are such well-meaning citizens who have actually sacrificed their own careers and lives and this thing, and they're on the ground doing this 24/7 to support and show the government the violations. But if they obviously, when they will not take action, this is going to continue year after year after year. Then
Right.
policy for every source of emission, there's a policy, that sound policy that needs to be brought in, and it changes with time. It obviously, there's a lot of learning. There's immediate steps. There are long-term steps, etc. So basically, this is the way the change will happen, not by just bringing in these visuals and headlines and PR headlines. It's not going to work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would be like, I am saying this with very honesty that the information and data that you have shared today with us and with our viewers who are watching this, it's quite shocking and it's quite alarming at the same time that things are being done on paper but not in the reality, or is done for the just for the show purpose, but there is no use, or there's no advantage of that. And a lot of money is going in that as
Yeah,
well.
public
The,
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
the campaigns that are being run or whatever is being done. And having said that, I think we as individual, we think we are layman's, but no, we are not. We are the voices, and I think we need to come together as one. We need to raise this issue to the government, to the people in the authority, so that an immediate action can be taken, so that the incoming years this gets sorted, or at least gets better, and then people of Delhi NCR can hope to breathe in the little cleaner air, and with growing times probably in much cleaner air
So
for
I'd just like to
incoming.
add to that, sorry, just like 10 seconds,
Yeah, yeah, please.
that now the Vidhan Sabha elections are coming.
Yes,
So the citizens must come forward and question and vote for only clean air, because that's what we want. So if
yes,
you do not ask for it, you won't get it. And everybody should ask and demand and, raise the correct questions. Don't troll, don't be rude, don't be disrespectful. Speak on facts and
right.
argue on facts. Bring your legislators and your politicians on the ground and ask for clean air. And whoever gives you clean air is obviously the winner.
In short, get our leaders to get on the work which requires the immediate actions.
So, true, absolutely.
It was
Yeah,
a
thank
very
you.
insightful conversation, Bhavreen. Honestly, the data that you have shared is something that I think our viewers will take seriously, will understand the severity, and will act on those also from their own end, because of course we are all in it together, we all are getting affected, and it's not one person problem, it's a community problem, it's more like a state problem. Thank you so very much for sharing your
Thank
insights
you so much, Riya.
and talking to us on One India. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.